Okay, we're a couple minutes past the hour here. We'll just get started. Welcome everybody to the November meeting of the Acquisition SIG for under koha-US. Glad you could all make it. And just a couple of things that since we are part of koha-US, I wanted to highlight just to make you aware and watch for, I guess is what I'm trying to say, is there will be, for members, there will be a vote both for the officers and for the location of the next conference. That ballot will be coming in the near future, and encourage everybody to participate in that. And then we can kick off 2025 in a grand way. Yeah, and so if you have any questions about that, just let me know and I can address them if or find the answer. So today, I just had a couple of things on the agenda, and then I wanted to open it up for people to talk about. Well, actually, I know we do this every time, but I think it's important, especially for new people, if we can just kind of go around and introduce ourselves and share, what library you work at, maybe how long you've been on Koha, why you love acquisitions in Koha. That would be a good one. And then we can go from there. I think, I don't remember how I did it last time, but I'll just kind of go along in the order on my screen and just call out people to participate. And if your camera is working, turn it on so we can see your beautiful faces, and then we'll go from there. And I'll start. Rhonda Kuiper, I work at the Round Rock Public Library, and let's see, Round Rock has been on Koha since 2016. I don't know how many years that is. And I'm collection development and technical services manager here. So I'm just trying to think of something that my favorite thing about Koha acquisitions is our ability to give feedback and kind of help shape the way the function is in Koha. So that's pretty cool. I like that. Chris, you are the first one on my screen, so I will go to you.
Hi, I'm Chris Vinke. I'm at the Chautauqua Cattaraugus Library System in Western New York. We've been on Koha for 6 years now, since 2018. And I like being able to do EDI ordering, which works well most of the time.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Chris. Charlie, you're next.
I am Charlie Arthur, Technical Services Librarian over at SLO Public Library. The thing I like about this meeting is that I get to learn everything that I didn't know before. And I didn't know a lot, so.
Yeah. That's great. John, you're next.
Hi, I'm John Vinke. I'm the Assistant Director of Library and Learning Services at Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary in Austin, Texas. And we've been on Koha for 11 months tomorrow, I believe it is. So it's coming up on a year. And I really appreciate the Koha acquisition system as being a lot less complex than Voyager.
Okay. That's good. Oh, people are moving around. Monique.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Monique Matta, and I am the Adult Services Coordinating Librarian. I'm also with County of San Luis Obispo Public Libraries, like Charlie. And we've been with KOHA since, I want to say, the spring of 2022, so a little bit over 2 years. And I've only been doing acquisitions since January of this year, and so I don't really have any basis for comparison, but I do think that KOHA seems to have a pretty user-friendly interface. And I do enjoy the EDI ordering in particular. But yeah, like Charlie said, I still feel like I'm learning all of the features that are available. So I'm happy to be here.
Great. Welcome. Daphne.
Hi, I'm Daphne Houlihan and I work with Interleaf in Ireland, and we've been supporting KOHA for about 15 or 16 years now. And having worked on several other proprietary systems, I love the KOHA acquisitions module because it lets you optimize all your funds. And it also reduces duplication, that anything you put in through acquisitions is available right throughout the system. And I think that's a big plus without you having to redo the work. And I come to these meetings just to get hints and hopefully learn from early adopters about new things coming up and avoid any mistakes.
Thanks, Daphne. Glad you can join us. All right, Michelle, you're next.
Hi, I'm Michelle. I work at Roseville Public Library in California. We've been on KOHA since December of 2012. I try to make these meetings, but I miss them a lot because I'm only a library assistant and it's only a small part of my many hats that I wear here. And I'm still trying to keep up with all of the KOHA changes in the past 12 years.
All right, thanks, Michelle. Marci.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. My name is Marci Chen. I'm with McKinney Public Library. We have been on KOHA since October of 2016. And what I really like about the acquisitions module, I also like EDI. That's a huge time saver, but I like that we can just in generally speaking about KOHA, I like that we can customize things and that we can create complex reports that can extract data. With a different ILS, I had to use whatever reports module they had, unless you had super special training. And if you're motivated to learn how to use SQL or have people that can do it, you can really get a lot of fine tuning of your data from KOHA. So.
Okay, thanks, Marci. Monique.
Hi, I'm Monique from Vermont State University, and we've been using KOHA since 2007. And I do acquisition, so I do purchasing for 2 of the colleges that are part of the university. And I do the serials for all 5 colleges. So, I like being able to hear of different things that are happening. And sometimes it really helps with being able to get reports and stuff. So.
Yep. Okay, thank you, Monique. Kristen.
Hello, I'm Kristen Ortelli. I'm the Library Systems Manager at the Santa Fe Public Library in Santa Fe, New Mexico. We are a 3-branch system. We have been on KOHA since June of 21, so it's only been a little over 3 years. What I appreciate most about the acquisitions module is how customizable it is and how easy it is to find information online, or such a supportive community can help you figure out what you need to figure out.
Okay, thank you, Kristen. Jason.
I'm Jason Robb. I'm the Seek and Find coordinator at the Southeast Kansas Library System. We're a consortium of 51 libraries now. I think we'll be 53 next year. We've been on Koha since 2008, and we don't really use the acquisitions module because it was never meant for consortia in the early days. But we're very interested in starting, so that's why I attend these meetings. We do use purchase suggestions, so I get to say that's my favorite part because it's the only part I use.
All right, thanks, Jason. Ellis. Sorry, I can't use mic because of lounge. Okay, understand. That's real. Okay. Let's see. Loud phone call going on. Okay. Then Christy.
Hi, I'm Christy. I'm from the Monterey Public Library in California, and we've been on Koha longer than I've been here, and I have been in acquisition since 2019. We share our ILS with another local library with Pacific Grove, which is not too far away. So any of our decisions need to be made jointly when we're looking at administrative decisions in Koha. What I like best about acquisitions is the budget, as far as being able to track the budget. And I also enjoy the collaboration that occurs with utilizing Koha, both with all of you and with Bywater, who supports us.
Okay, great. Thanks, Christy. And just to complete Ellis's stuff from McKinney with Marci, and I haven't done any acquisitions yet, but I'm excited to learn more. So welcome. We're always happy to train up new acquisitions people. I'm sure Marci will be thrilled with the support. All right. And Calley. We have just gone around and introduced ourselves and said what library we're from and what we like best about the acquisitions module and how long we've been on Koha. Could you share that with us? Putting you on the spot, just joining the group here. Cornish College, my microphone is not working at the moment. Okay, we've had another one of those too. So welcome to the group, and we will see what we can all learn today. It's exciting. So the one thing I wanted to share with everybody is there is a group of people from the Koha community that are going to meet to kind of discuss acquisitions 2.0, and myself from the US, I guess, and Jesse from Bywater have been asked to join this to kind of represent our perspectives. You know, this is, you know, they made it pretty clear that it's, you know, we're just going to talk about what do I call it, the main workflow, you know, not necessarily get into the weeds with everybody's individual, you know, idiosyncrasies and how they do stuff. But we want to create something where that main workflow will be something that everybody can use and everybody can, you know, do their workflow from it with like we talked about, the customization and things. So my ask for everybody here is I will probably be sending out stuff to the listserv, you know, with questions as, you know, as we have meetings and to get your feedback, because that's kind of how I see my role. It's not, I'm going to decide represent just Round Rock. I want to represent the whole community, you know, the US Koha stuff. So I just a heads up, I will probably be sending out emails asking for your input on different ideas or different thoughts. And then, you know, if you guys can give me your feedback, and then, you know, together we can influence the look and feel and function of Acquisitions 2.0. That's what that's kind of what my vision is. And Jessie will be there too, to, you know, she's heard a lot of the questions that come through Bywater and the, you know, things that libraries have talked about with her as well. But, you know, just to get this group that's obviously interested in acquisitions to represent that. So we haven't had our first meeting scheduled yet. Still working on that. It's kind of a tricky when you're trying to get people from all over the world to find a time that works for everybody. But yeah, I just wanted to let people know that that was something, and that we will have a say in it. You know, it's not just something that like proprietary systems, they make changes and then they release it and then you just have to deal with it. You know, we are going to have some input. We'll see how that all goes. So that's where that is. And then did anybody have specific questions that they have run into in the last month? Some of you have been on 2405 now for a bit. How's that all going?
Still having issues with our manga orders coming in. We're ordering a bunch of volume 1s instead of like volume 1, 2, 3, for example. It's just ordering just a bunch of volume 1s. I think it's because we serialize our records. We're in the process of deserializing, so it's getting the first ISBN. So I think that's the problem.
Yep.
But yeah.
We had that same experience when we first started, because we had like the entire series on one bib, and, you know, with all of the ISBNs, and same thing was happening. We would get volume 1 all the time. So and between that and going on to Aspen, it just worked better in Aspen to have things separated out instead of all the volumes on one record, because you can do the series, you know, put the series in order on Aspen, which was kind of the function of having it all on the same bib was for us.
And I know you do EDI ordering too, right?
Yeah.
How did you, like, what was your workaround for that? Like, to have Baker and Taylor send you, or whoever,
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did we do that? I don't know. It's been a while since we dealt with that problem. And the acquisitions person who dealt with it is retired, so I can't ask her. So yeah, I'm trying to remember what we actually did.
I might be able to chime in here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so when you're getting a basket from Baker and Taylor and you import it, it's going to search the first ISBN on that record. So if you want to say you're deserializing, so we'll say you have record volume 3 on its own record, make sure only volume 3 ISBN is on that record, so you match to that one.
Yep.
So if you want to, you could also, before you order, go in and reorder every single ISBN. If you happen to know which ISBN is volume 3, put it to the top. Baker Taylor will always grab the top ISBN, generally speaking.
Yep.
I've seen occasionally it grabs it from like the 700 somewhere, but it's usually the very first ISBN in the 0 tab.
Yeah.
Perfect. That's kind of what we're doing. We're deserializing as we're ordering. So hopefully, I think we're just missing like here and there, just a serial ISBN. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
Hey, Rhonda.
Yes.
May I ask how you get Aspen to display series in order? Do you know how that is working? Is it drawing on the series fields, or? Or is
Novelist,
it novelist?
it's novelist.
Okay, so
Mm.
same $20,000 solution that we
Yes.
have. Or
Exactly.
25, I don't even know what it is.
Yeah, I
Okay.
don't know what ours is either.
Sorry, I got really excited for a
No,
minute
yeah.
there, but never
Yeah,
mind.
because if you, I mean, we have all our series tags in our catalog records.
Yeah.
And if you click on them, it will bring up the series, but
Yeah.
it's not necessarily in order.
No.
Usually not. The only
Yes.
way to get it in order is through Novelist at
Yes.
this point. I don't know if that's something we could request. Aspen try to figure out, you know.
I mean, it's got to draw on what's in your bib records to
Yeah.
power that, and it's not a controlled field anymore
Right,
necessarily.
right.
So
Yeah, yeah, that was the thought that was going through my head too. It's kind of all over the place. Even, you know, like we're looking at our fiction because we've genreified our fiction years and years
Yeah.
and years ago. And now, you know, a couple collection developers later, we're like, why is the first half of that series in mystery and the second half in fiction? You know, it's like, what? So we're trying to go back through and at least put the series all in the same genre so that their, you know, patrons can find them on the shelf. And but yeah, as we're looking through those, we're looking at the series fields and going, wow, this is just all over the place.
hodgepodge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Years and years of different people cataloging and whatever. So yeah, but yeah, that it's pretty much Novelist makes it pretty. So what is this that Jason has shared? Add sort option for the series number. Ancient bug. Look at that number, 2646. That was the beginning of time. And when I click on it, nothing. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to get 67 of these open because I clicked on it too many times. All right, and it's still in new status. Woohoo! Yeah. Well, we can add comments to that one. 2646. Looks like a few people from our group have done that. Yep. That bug can't vote, but has its driver's license. Yeah, that's right. That one is old. Okay. Any other questions, curiosities? Right now, we made it through our transition from one fiscal year to the next fiscal year. Ordering that we've kind of got that down to, you know, a pretty standard process. I was going to double check. Oh, let me see if I can quickly find this.
So Rhonda, does that mean that you, what you were working on, where you can carry over orders to the next fiscal year, you're saying that's been fixed?
That's what I'm checking on. So we have, it has been fixed and we've paid for it, but it's not in the system yet. So I'm trying to remember which bug this was. 31606. I just wanted to see what the status of that is. Oh, it's still only in signed off. We're gonna have to light a fire under somebody for this one. So so we made, Alicia from Catalyst did some work and has, made some changes to Koha. One of them is just, like when you pull up, budgets and it's with the funds, it's all a hodgepodge. Right now, it's like you'll get this year's, last year's, and 3 years ago from, adult fiction all grouped together. And it's just it's a hodgepodge. And then, but she's reordered it so that each budget will be together, which will be helpful. And then, also that you can select which budget you want to order from when you're setting up the EDI stuff. So, yeah, that's still, I'm wondering if this is kind of on hold because of the whole acquisitions 2.0 thing. I don't know. That's just me guessing, what's going on. But, after this meeting, I think I'll just, comment on this to ask where it is in the process or whatever.
Rhonda, when you said the budgets from that drop down are going to be in order, like active ones will show up on the top, I run into the problem fairly often because I need to apply something to a budget that's been closed for whatever reason, and so I'll have to reopen it. And then apply something to that budget. And then there are so many inactive budgets there with the same fund code that it's like a crapshoot. I'm going through like 10 different ones and I get the wrong one. So is there a way that they'll be in order, like from last fiscal year?
Yeah.
Down?
So, how do I describe this? So and I tested this a while back. So my memory, there's that. But it was kind of like she had the budget year in bold, and then all the funds underneath that budget year, and then the next budget year in bold, and then all the funds underneath, that fell into that budget year. So does that make sense? It's kind of, so they'll be grouped by budget. The funds will be grouped by budget. And it just looks neater and easier to, you can just scroll through and say, oh yeah, I wanted the 2021 budget. Let me scroll down to that. Okay, these are all the funds from that one, because everything, we have, in order to do the rollover, you need to have the same fund names. So, or fund codes, I should say. The names can be slightly different, but the codes need to be the same. So yeah, that's kind of how it should work now or in the future. So it looks like the last thing on here was me signing off on it. So, okay. So that is coming hopefully in the next release if we can get some movement. Anything else that people are dealing with? One thing if nobody has anything, we've still got half our time left. I was going to, I brought up the manual for 2405, and I thought it might be interesting just as a refresher, because I know this, what are they called? System preferences change each release. Just to kind of do a quick overview of what all the system preferences are, just as a refresher for everybody, and just to see if there's maybe something new and different in there. So I was just going to share my screen, and then we could just kind of, I don't want to spend forever on each of these because they're pretty self-explanatory, but if one of them sparks a discussion, then we can do that. Does that work for everybody? Okay. All right. So then I got to figure out. The big green one is the one I need. Okay. Sure. Okay. So this is the Koha Community Manual. It says 1911, but this has the latest updates, I think. We go all the way to the top. We'll see under what's new. So we've got the 2405 stuff is included in here. So the way that I got there was, there it is, administration. If you go to administration, and then under that is acquisitions, and then this is, to set up, you need, to set up your currencies and set up your budgets and your funds. Oh. This is not. Okay. How does one get to system preferences? There, I missed it. System preferences and then acquisitions. I had this up yesterday and then I closed it. Okay, so here are the system preferences related to acquisitions. The first one is EDIFACT. So if you do EDI ordering, so EDI is kind of the word that the North American continent uses, and EDIFACT is more what the European people call it. So EDIFACT and EDI are kind of one and the same thing. So EDIFACT, you can either turn it to disabled or enabled. So this would be one of the first things you do if you want to do EDI ordering, is enable EDIFACT message exchange for acquisitions. So yeah, this is the main switch to turn on or off the EDIFACT feature in Koha. So that's where you'd start. And then if I'm going too fast, I'm just say something. So the next one is EDIFACT invoice import. So it's either do or don't automatically import EDIFACT invoice message files when they're downloaded. So this allows libraries to delay the importing of EDI voices until a time of their choosing. So if the system preference is set to don't, the invoices are imported into the database by the invoice, but the invoice processing is skipped. Instead, any invoice files listed in EDI messages with the status of new will have an import button to process the invoices manually. So people that do EDI invoicing, do you do the automatic load of the invoice message, or do you do it on your time or when you need to?
Automatic here.
We currently have it set up to push the button, but that was partly just to work the kinks out first.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is a nice feature. I don't think we had that option when they just came flying in when we first started. So yeah, we've got it automatic now because we're pretty comfortable with it coming in.
We use automatic as well, but what I noticed is the receipt date under the item record is actually when the EDI invoice comes in. So if others are looking at it, like staff in the library, that date won't be the actual date of us receiving the physical book.
Right.
So I guess my question would be is what if any is the benefit of doing that manually? Does anyone know?
We had to choose manual. We reverted not that long ago. Just because things were showing as received that weren't received, and we had such a delay in when we were actually receiving the items that it was causing customer service issues. So we have to push the button now.
Okay. That makes sense. So it's for you, it was mostly just a customer service issue to not show that something was received when you really hadn't received it.
Correct. Yes. I don't know if that delay in shipping has been resolved yet, but we've been getting a lot of slow orders.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, so the way we work around that, Kristen, so from what I understand from our vendor, as soon as the box is shipped, that's when the invoice is triggered on the vendor's end to send via EDI. So that's why it's a much earlier date than our receipt. But then I have to I put the items at -2, so they show us in processing instead of received. Otherwise, that would be a big problem like what you guys have.
Mhm.
So that makes sense.
That's what we did.
Yeah, we didn't want things to show up as in processing until they're actually in the building. Is that how yours is set up?
No, so it will show up as in processing. That's what I'm saying is when the EDI invoice is generated from the vendor. So right when they're shipped. And then I'll switch them on my end when I actually receive the book.
Yeah.
But that was my point, is it shows on the item record as in processing before we actually have the book in hand. So that may be a reason to manually push the button.
Yes, that was one of the customer service issues. Because to us, in processing means we've actually physically received it. It's in the basement somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is Marci at McKinney. We do the same thing that Christy does. And we just have educated staff and patrons that in processing means it's shipped from the vendors. It doesn't mean that it's in the back somewhere that someone can go get. So it works pretty well. I do have our final mark records come in. Christy, are you having to manually change things to in processing, or is that happening with EDI or with your final mark?
I have it set up with our vendor through EDI.
Okay.
Yeah, that it comes in automatically at -2, because otherwise it's just too confusing. And so then
Yeah.
you won't batch edit when I get them or individually. I'm usually checking every record. So yeah, so that's what I do when I get them manually.
Okay.
Mhm.
I don't know if I have something set up differently than you all do, because when it'll say something is received in acquisitions, but my item records aren't getting updated. They still say on order until they actually get cataloged, and then they turn into in processing.
We don't even use in processing, but I keep it as ordered until I physically touch and check in that item and put it upstairs for the public to use. Like, I don't even mess with in processing, just ordered. That way, if it is delayed or it's in a box and I'm out sick for 3 weeks or whatever, no one's looking for it because it's somewhere not here.
Yeah, and to John's statement, the way ours gets set up is we have item records. We do grids with our vendor, and so the item records come in with all that information in it, and one of those fields is the not for loan field, and that's where we put the -2. Ours is a -4. Whatever that in processing thing is. And then, for the items that we order from Amazon or something that's not EDI, they don't get updated until we actually go in and catalog them. Okay. The next one is Edifact LSQ. So map sequence code field to blank in items. This is right over my head. But EDI IT Euro describes the LSQ segment as a code or other designation which identifies stock which is to be shelved in a specific sequence or collection. In Koha, this could be interpreted as either the item's location or, sorry, my phone is going off here. I don't know if you can hear that dinging, but I will turn it off. This system preference is used to indicate to Koha which field is to be mapped.
That's the GIR value or fields, right? I think that's, oh,
Yeah, so you can either set up the GIR to be the collection code or the location code. Some libraries use one or the other, some use both. So you can specify what's in that GIR field with that one. All right, so those are EDIFACT things. Now we're on policy. So the first one is at create item. And then this one has 3 options. So create an item when the default is placing an order, or you can set it to cataloging a record or receiving a record. So this preference lets you decide when you'd like to create an item record in Koha. If you choose to add an item record when placing an order, you will enter information as as you add the record to the basket. If you choose to add an item when receiving an order, you'll be asked for item record information when you're receiving the order in acquisitions. And then if you choose to add the item when cataloging a record, then item records will not be created in acquisitions at all, and you'll need to go to the cataloging module and add the items. Note that this setting can be overridden when creating a basket. I think you've all seen the field, the default, whatever field when you're creating a basket. Just curious, we do the default placing an order. Is that what most people do?
yeah, that would be scary to change, especially with like EDI in place. If I changed it to something else, I don't think it would work with anything else.
Yeah, I think there's a reason that it's the default. It makes the most sense, but there might be situations, special situations where it would be nice to have the other options, which is great that we have those. Okay, so ACK enable files. It's either do or don't. Default is don't. Enable the ability to upload and attach arbitrary files to invoices. I love that word, arbitrary. It's like, I'm going to put my, I don't know what, attached to this invoice. This preference controls whether or not you allow the uploading of invoice files via the acquisitions module. So does anybody do this, use it? I mean, the default is don't.
I actually do. I put the PDF we get from the vendor up there just so sometimes there's more detail in there if we need to go back. I'm not sure if I'll keep doing it forever.
Okay. Yeah, that would be another a good example of allowing that, is if you've got additional documentation that you want to track with the invoices.
Just a quick question about that. Would there be any downside to uploading? I mean, I'm just wondering why they have that as a default no. I mean, is there, because that seems to me like a positive to be able to upload more information.
The only thing I can think is space,
Okay.
that would be
And
the only.
work intensive, I would think as well, because you'd have to like, I don't know. It doesn't matter if you skip like an order every once in a while, but having to do that at every order just seems kind of like an extra step that is not needed when it's already kind of in your vendor site. Like all that information is already there.
Right
Like,
now, I'm just keeping hard copies, which is a pretty massive file. So.
oh, let's talk about it.
Yeah. All right.
So John, you're adding this at the invoice level, not at the vendor level, or I thought you said you're adding it to the vendor.
At the invoice. So I have the invoice that I go through and I just check to make sure everything looks okay. And then just the last step I do is I upload the PDF to the invoice before I close it. We have to submit the actual hard, we still write checks with paper processes. So I often have them at hand anyway. So it's not really extra work for me. And it is kind of nice because sometimes we have either subscription terms in there, or we have, you know, user counts, like this is a 3-user ebook or an unlimited user ebook. Like some of that is kept in there. I've had it before, not necessarily in recent memory, but in other jobs where I've had to go back and tell the vendor like, hey, you're only giving me 1 copy of this ebook. I should have unlimited copies, stuff like that.
Great, thank you.
Hey, John, do you, is there a way to like set permissions per, like, is it part of your permissions, or is it like if it's part of the acquisitions module, then like, do you know what permissions?
I do not know that.
Okay.
And everybody who works in acquisitions is also a super librarian when they want to be. So it's kind of, we're very, very small.
Thank you.
All right, great. Next one, acquisition item set subfields when receipt is canceled. So this one says, upon canceling a receipt, update the item subfields if they were created when placing the order. Their example is, you know, when you created the order, the O field equals 5 and the A equals barfu. So this preference is used in conjunction with the acquisition set subfield, acquisition item set subfield when received preference, which is the one that follows right after. If you have the system set to enter default values when receive, then you will want to have those values reverted back if the receipt is canceled. This preference allows you to do that. So let's just look at this received one first, next two real quick. Upon receiving items, update their subfields if they were created when placing an order. So again, the same example. So this preference allows you to set default values for items that you have received via acquisitions. So enter the data as subfield equals value and split your values with a bar. For example, you can remove the ordered status on the item automatically when you receive it just by entering 7 equals 0 in this preference. That will set the not for loan status, subfield 7, to a 0, which is available. So that's probably something that EDI people don't want to do. if you're receiving your invoices 3 or 4 days before you actually get the things in the house and all that good stuff. But you could set it up to, if you had a shipped value for EDI, you could do that. And then when you actually download the MARC records, you could have the in processing in the fields at that time. I don't know. Anybody use these two in conjunction with each other? I'm seeing a lot of no's. Okay. Well, interesting to know that they're there. Acquisitions default email address. This was added in 2311, so this is a newer one. Use the from email address when sending acquisition order and claim notices. So this system preference allows you to set a different email address for sending orders and claims from the acquisitions module. If left empty, it will use instead the first email address available in this order, the library's email, and then the Koha admin email, which are set up in other system preferences. So has anybody set a different email address in here in 2311, which was
I don't want any emails constantly hitting my inbox. No emails.
no emails.
I will miss all the important stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we all get enough junk already, but this wouldn't be junk necessarily. So, okay. And then this one here is also added with 2311. Use the reply to email address blank when sending acquisition order and claim notices. So this is, you can set it up to say, if somebody gets the email, they can reply to whatever address that you have set up there, which is, these two are closely connected with each other. So
Has anyone confirmed that those are working? Because I know our vendor, I'll send things via EDI sometimes and they'll say, oh, that we didn't get that note. And it's 2311, it looks like. Does anyone else like send claims through the acquisition module that they would know that it works?
we don't.
I think we have some clients who use that, excuse me, particularly where they have a big acquisitions department and one person takes responsibility for chasing up claims, or, you know, and because before that, everything went to the default sysadmin email address, which is used throughout COA. So we have one or two, so I think they do work.
Okay. It's good to know. Thanks, Daphne. All right, so we are at acquisitions view baskets. The ask is show baskets and the default is created or managed by staff member. The other values are in system regardless of owner, from staff members library, or then the default created. You'd probably need to be a larger library to care about this one, especially with this middle one here. So it can kind of fine tune who, you know, if you showed baskets and you saw everything for, you know, in Jason's case, if they were using acquisitions, you know, all 51 libraries, you'd see all their baskets, it would be a little overwhelming. This way you can limit that to just the person's library or the ones that they'd actually created. Acquisitions warn on duplicate invoice. The default is do not warn when the librarian tries to create an invoice with a duplicate number. When set to warn, Koha will let staff know of an invoice with the same number has been, you know, whatever, has already been created. The staff member will have a choice to either receive on the existing invoice or create a new one with the same number. So
We use that, this
Yeah.
Marci.
yeah, we use this one too. It's just less confusing to not have duplicate invoice numbers. Basket confirmations, when closing or reopening a basket, always ask for a confirmation, or that's the default, or the other value would be do not ask for confirmation. So just let you skip that confirmation at the end. We still ask for the confirmation with ours. This one was added in 2311. Calculate fund values including tax. So exclude or include tax in the calculated fund values, the spent and ordered columns in the homepage of acquisitions. It will include or exclude that. This doesn't apply to Texas because we don't pay taxes on our stuff. But I know California you do.
Yeah, but we manually add it to the invoice upon receipt of the item. It scares me to have anything automatically applying money because you never know if it's right.
Okay, yeah. So does anybody else actually have this set to include tax?
We do.
Oh,
Okay,
Apparently I do, but we don't pay tax on anything, so.
oh, okay. Yeah, you're also a Texas library, so.
Yeah, it will be set in Europe. They have to pay tax.
Okay,
we're
okay,
just testing it out for now, just to see if the correct amounts are coming through. So I've turned it on just to see if it actually is working, and I no complaints so far.
no
Really?
complaints so far, okay. All right, well, here's hoping it works great.
It's particularly useful if you have different tax rates as we do for printed material and electronic material. So
Oh,
it
interesting.
keeps track of that for you.
Okay, yeah, that would be helpful. Okay. Next one, this is also from 2311, cancel orders in closed baskets. So it's allow, don't allow, canceling order lines in closed baskets. I remember this one. The system preference is used to enable the ability to cancel orders in baskets that are already closed, meaning the order was sent to the vendor. This is useful if vendors cannot supply the ordered item and you don't want to reopen the basket or go through the receive shipment process. So I don't know that we've actually turned on allow, but we do have that situation come up sometimes when, you know, the vendor cancels something or we cancel it, you know, like we ordered it in March and it was supposed to come out in May and it's now August and it still hasn't been released and they've changed the release date to October. You know, we'll cancel things and then, you know, cancel it out of the basket as well and put it in next year's budget.
This is great because I knew this was a function that was now part of Koha, and it's not showing up in my baskets. And so I just looked in admin and it's still saying don't allow. So I changed it. So now I'm
Yeah.
excited.
Okay.
Same here.
Yeah, this was amazing for me because, you know, academic publishers in particular are very slow and we sometimes order things that are out of print and can't be found.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was, I'm gonna have to go back and check ours because I don't remember changing this one either. So, and Holly decided to take the day off, so I can't just push it off on her. So off I go. Claims BCC copy. Don't send or send blind copy to logged in user when sending serial or acquisitions claim notices. Allows you to choose whether or not you want to send a copy of a claim email to a staff member. So yeah, if you had somebody else that would be interested or whatever, they can do that. Currency format, display currencies using the following format. The default is the US one. There's also, I'm guessing it's French and Chinese. I don't know. I'm guessing most people on this call would have US. Oh, here we are, 1201. Let me just quickly scroll through. Okay, here's one that was added in 2405. Oh, okay. Order price rounding. So this says don't round to the nearest cent. You can have it round to the nearest cent. So there's that. I didn't know they sent fractions of cents. I'm processing that in my head right now. But anyway, And I'm just looking for some green stuff here. This is some preference. Okay. Text to be used above the order table in the English one page. Oh, this is. Does anyone know what this means? Used to customize.
I think that's if you print a letter to mail to order.
Oh, okay. So that's why I have no clue, because we don't do that. Okay. And then, then we're at the end. Okay. We're only 2 minutes over. So, our next meeting is going to be in December, and it is the 17th of December. Will be our next meeting. At this point, I'm just going to say we're going to go with it. And, you know, you can come with your ugly sweater, Christmas sweater, or whatever you want to do, and we'll have a good time. Okay, so thanks everyone. I'm going to stop sharing. Thanks everyone for your help, you know, and comments as we go through these. And I'm glad a few of you were able to find a system preference that you can update to make your life easier. And welcome, Chip. We introduced everybody earlier, but well, thanks for being here.
I was a little late, held up. I can't wait to watch the recording. So
Okay.
that's it.
All right. And yeah, anybody have any last minute comments or questions? All good. Okay, then we will see you next month. Happy Thanksgiving for, I think everybody here is US, except for Daphne, but happy Thanksgiving for everybody here in the US, and we will see you all next month.
Thank you.
Bye, thanks.
Bye. Bye.